Pokebabs! Hello and welcome back to Pokebabs. Hope you guys are having a great day. Today we're looking at a deck that is definitely a little bit, it's definitely a rogue deck. I'll tell you that for sure. It is an expanded deck, and it is a deck that I actually took to a States last year. It's a little different than this, but pretty much the same idea. I actually took it to a States last year when this was standard, but now it is expanded, and made some changes to account for that. But the idea is Miltank Shiftry. So if you haven't seen Miltank, it is from Flashfire, and it has 100 HP. It's colorless Pokemon, and really the only attack we want to be using is Powerful Friends 10 plus. It does 70 if you 70 more if you have a stage 2 on your bench. So maximum is 80, 100 with a muscle band. This isn't necessarily a huge amount of damage, but it is enough to knock out a lot of evolving basics, or even the stage 1 a lot of times. So it's useful for that, and it is just a 1 energy cost attacker, which is fantastic. Now we're playing 4 of those, and the stage 2 that we're going to be opting to use is this Shiftry, and it's also from Flashfire, and it has this ability Leaf Draw. The ability is really, really strong. For sure, I think it's underlooked ability, but it's underrated. But here, if you discard a grass energy from your hand, you draw 3 cards. That's all there is to it. It's like having a Tierno that's not a supporter. So obviously drawing 3 cards is great. If you have multiple out, it stacks. You can keep drawing cards. And so definitely a strong ability. And the attack is actually also very strong. Now, it does take a grass and 2 colorless, which you can do with a grass and double colorless. And it does 20 times the number of benched Pokemon. That's yours and your opponent's. So if you have a full bench and your opponent has none benched, that's 100. If you both have full benches, that's 200 damage. And we have other ways of getting above the 200 damage cap. But 200 damage is obviously a high amount of damage. It's enough to take out most Pokemon EX. And you start to get into that range where you can almost take out the megas. So definitely a strong attack there. Definitely a high cost of attack, but it is a strong attack. And 140 HP is sometimes an awkward amount to hit for decks. So a nice amount of HP as well. Now we are going to be playing this C dot, which has Call for Family. It is kind of a weaker Call for Family. The Emolga has a Call for Family that lets you put 2 basics from your deck onto your bench, but this is still a decent attack for setup if you don't have many other options. And then the Nuzleaf, there's nothing too special about it. Now, we are going to be playing a 4-3-3 line with no rare candies. Reason being, we're planning to evolve up using Forest of Giant Plants. So potentially we can get a Shiftry out turn 1, be leaf drawing, and attacking with Miltank for 80 damage. So that is the idea. Now, we do have 2 Shaman for setup. I've played this with 1 Shaman as well, but I think that it's sometimes very difficult to get set up. And sometimes you just need 2, especially if you prize one, it can be very, very bad. But I do advise against putting down Shaman unless absolutely necessary, because everything else is a 1 prize attacker. We also have 1 Execute, and Execute is nice for a couple reasons. Obviously, the propagation ability is great to be able to use it on things like Ultra Ball and Computer Search. But in addition to that, it's also something that we can just put on our bench from our discard essentially whenever we want. So it's an extra 20 damage for that Deranged Dance attack. And sometimes you just need 20 more damage to get the knockout, and this is the way to do it. I don't think it's really wise to play more than maybe 1 or maybe 2, just because you don't want to start with it for sure. So that is the idea there. Now we've also got, as I mentioned, our A-Spec is Computer Search, just very strong, helping you get set up perhaps turn 1 or get back a Shiftry later in the game when you need one. We're playing one Battle Compressor. Battle Compressor, the idea here is to kind of combo it with Revitalizer. So we can Battle Compressor away Shiftry parts and then Revitalizer to get them back in our hand and put them all down at once due to the Forest of Giant Plants, which we're only playing 3 of. So we're playing 3 of the Forest of Giant Plants. You do really need to get this down early, turn 1 or turn 2. We're also playing 1 Skyfield. And I think you probably already can guess why we're playing the Skyfield. Reason being, if we can put up to 8 bench Pokemon down, we can do a lot more damage with Deranged Dance. Our damage cap with Muscle Band is now, well, without Muscle Band is 160, and with Muscle Band 180 just for our side of the field. So that's definitely strong. Also, your opponent's almost certainly going to have at least 1 or 2 Pokemon bench. So even if they know what's going on, you can still fill up your bench really quickly and efficiently with Skyfield. Now, we've got 1 Energy Retrieval. Energy Retrieval is fantastic in this deck. If you have Grass Energy in the discard, you get 2 of them back, and it's basically like saying draw 6 cards. If you have 2 Shiftry, Energy Retrieval is kind of like saying draw 6 cards, so really fantastic. Professor's Letter, also similar. I mean, sometimes it's just like saying draw 6 cards. If you have 2 Shiftry out, and you can afford to, or a lot of times you'll attach 1 energy and then leaf draw with the other energy. And it's also a deck thinning option, which is great as well. Playing 1 Pokemon Communication, swapped this out for Level Ball recently, and I think it's a good idea. Sometimes you just have the Shiftry in hand and you wish that you had a Seedot or a Nuzleaf, and so instead of discarding the Shiftry with a Sycamore or something like that, we're going to opt to, get whatever down that we need for the rest of the line. Or perhaps you have a Shaman or an Execute in hand that you just don't really care about, but you have a Seedot down and a Shiftry in your hand. Then you might Communication away and Execute, grab a Nuzleaf, and then evolve into Shiftry that turn. So I think it's going to help the deck be a little bit smoother. Now we also have 4 Ultra Ball. Ultra Ball, of course, very good for getting Shaman or any of these pieces that we need. It can get you any Pokemon in the deck. We're playing 4 VS Seeker. No surprise there. Now, for the supporter lines, very interesting. I actually like playing these 3 Bridget. It is definitely a high counter Bridget, but the chances of you getting it turn 1 have been increased a lot by playing the high count. And it's actually not a useless card later in the game. In fact, I really like Bridget late in the game because you can get 3 more bench Pokemon, which will allow you to do 60 more damage. So again, very strong to have the Bridget there. And 1 Colress, obviously great for drawing. We have Giovanni's Scheme. Giovanni's Scheme is draw until you have 5 cards in your hand or do 20 more damage. We're aiming more for that 20 more damage there. Lysander would be great to fit a couple Lysander, but 1 for now. We just have 1 N and 3 Sycamore. Don't need as many Sycamore, since once you get a Shiftry set up, you're pretty much going to be drawing through your cards pretty fast. Now we do also have 2 EXP share, which again a pretty undervalued trainer, I think, or tool in the modern game. It is seeing a lot more play in standard, but in expanded is good as well. We get to move one of our Grass Energy to the Pokemon that has EXP share. So if we start Miltank, we can start putting energy onto a Shiftry. Even if so 1 Shiftry gets knocked out, you move the energy to another Shiftry, and then you attach DCE and you're ready to go. So just helps the deck move more smoothly. We've got 1 Floatstone, helpful for retreating. Could be a switch. I've played with actually both before, Switch and Floatstone, but I think a Floatstone will be good enough. We've got 1 Muscle Band, just 3 DCE. I don't think you necessarily need all 4. It would be great to have more energy in this deck, but I think you can get away with 3 DCE and 7 Grass Energy. Another couple things that I've considered putting in: Brock's Grit helps you get back Pokemon and energy. Sometimes you can lose energy relatively quick. So I have definitely played with that. In addition to energy retrieval, I've also played Fisherman. Fisherman can be very, very strong in this deck. And definitely a useful card. And in addition, I would also say Super Rod. Obviously, these are all just recovery cards. Right now, we're just playing with the Energy Retrieval and Revitalizer to get back our pieces of the Shiftry line. But, every once in a while, you need to get something else back. You need to get more energy back than you're expecting because you've been discarding it all. And that's definitely useful. So I would say any of those cards would be good. And there's cuts that you can make here or there. But let's take a look at how the deck can do. How does it stand up in the current expanded meta, or at least what we're going to see on PTCGO. All right, let's go into some games. Alrighty, so we are going to head into our first game here. We see, looks like maybe it could be a Mega Gardevoir deck. I'm not really sure, but you never know what you're going to come across in expanded. And we get to call the coin flip. We will call heads, and it looks like it's going to be tails, unfortunately. Although we could get off that Powerful Friends turn 1. So we'll see what happens. We do draw into a Miltank and a C-Dot, so that's pretty good. The rest of our hand looks all right as well. There is potential for a turn 1. Turn 1 Shiftry, that is. We don't have the Forest yet, but otherwise looking okay. And wow, it looks like some sort of steel deck. I'm not sure, maybe Mega Aggron. We do see a Ninja Boy. And what is that going to grab? A Remoraid, okay. So they just pass on to us, which is great. We see EXP share. I will attach that to C-Dot. We're going to attach the Muscle Band to the active. And Ultra Ball for a Shaman. We just don't really have a great hand yet, but it could be a really good hand, depending on what we draw here. So I will put down the Shaman, and ooh, okay. So this isn't great, but it's not terrible at the same time. I think we're going to be content just to bridge it this turn, and we'll grab. 2 C-Dot. I think 2 C-Dot's fine. We'll bench our Miltank. And then I'm going to attach an energy just to a C-Dot. Because I'd rather we put the DCE on something that's going to evolve into Shiftry later. We do see the Aggron Spirit Link. We see they could go for a Steel Headbutt, but it would knock us out. And they could Mega Evolve this turn as well, which would be bad, I suppose. We see a Steel Headbutt with tails, but still hitting for 50 damage. Now let's see what we can top deck here. We do get another EXP share. I suppose it doesn't hurt to put it down. We'll put it on this C-Dot. And it looks like we're just going to have to Colress here. Drawing 6 cards, though. Not bad. And hopefully we can get a Force Giant Plants. We do get a Nuzleaf and still no Forest, so that's unfortunate. We were going to put down this Nuzleaf. We're going to put down another Nuzleaf, and I think we're just going to have to let this Miltank fall. Unfortunately, we'll attach an energy to the benched Miltank, and we will pass. But next turn, we have some options. We could grab a Shiftry. If we get a Grass Energy, we could grab Shiftry, perhaps. We could just Giovanni. And then make sure that we'll be able to get the Shiftry as well. We do have some options here. And it looks like we're seeing the Hoopa come down. I'm sure grabbing Mega Aggron and perhaps the Magearna, another Aggron, or maybe a Shaman. I'm not sure if they have Shaman since they're playing Artillery, but we will find out. See, it grabs, yeah, just the Aggron, Mega Aggron, and Magearna. And do they have the energy to attack with Aggron this turn? Now, Aggron does have sort of a, I mean, in this, I think it's not a very good effect in this, because if Tails, they damage 20, they do 20 to each of their bench, whereas if Heads, they do 120 damage. Yeah, I don't know. I think this isn't great for them. We just see a Mr. Mime. So wow. Okay, so they won't be damaging their own bench. I suppose that is well done. But they don't get the energy, and wow, they're just going to have to pass to us. We get the Revitalizer. So I think we're just going to have to discard Revitalizer and Energy Retrieval, as useful as they are. And we'll grab a Shiftry. And then we'll Giovanni's Scheme, drawing 5 cards. Hopefully we'll get a couple energy. We'll draw until we have 5 cards in our hand. Alright, so we do get a couple energy. We get another Shiftry down. We'll attach one to the active, and we'll leaf draw. And okay, so now we get a forest. A little late for the forest, but we won't put it down yet, and we'll just Powerful Friends for 100. And then we're going to be able to retain that energy, which is fantastic. Next turn we can go for the Deranged Dance knockout on the Aggron, on the Mega that is. They are going to put down a Reverse Valley, so we do 10 less damage. And an N. So that's probably okay for us. I'd like to see an energy off this N though. Not a DC though. Okay, so interesting. We do see the... Okay, so we need to do 160, which is not actually going to be hard to do. Question is, do we just... I think I'm just going to send up this Shiftry, even though it has the... Yeah, because I don't want to have to draw into it, into the energy. And, okay. So I'm going to put down DCE, C dot. We'll Battle Compressor away some stuff we don't need, probably. Bridget. How many VS Seeker do we have? 2 VS Seeker left? Yeah. I don't know if there's anything else I really need to discard. I guess Forest of Giant Plants is probably not very useful. I'll be playing one down this turn. And yeah, I think that's fine. We'll just discard those 2. We will... Oh, well... Egg was prize. That's disappointing. Do I really need the forest? Not really. We could just guarantee ourselves a Nuzleaf instead. Because I know we'll be able to hit for knockout here, so it doesn't really matter. We're doing 200 damage, minus 20. And we will Sycamore, and our deck is getting a little thin, but we're doing just fine. We've got a lot of options here, but I think what we'll do is we will just Deranged Dance for the knockout. Doing 180. And you can see the power of the deck. I mean, we are going up against kind of a strange deck, but it doesn't really matter when you're doing that much damage. We got it set up relatively quickly. Would have been better to get a force down earlier. And we see the Clauncher come up. We will be doing double damage to that if they leave it active, which would be pretty funny. And we can grab a Lysander off of this, which is probably what I want to do. Oh, looks like they're going to N us, which is fine. We do have... okay, so... We didn't get an energy, but we do have a supporter in hand. And okay, I'm going to Communication, grab our last Shiftry out of the deck. I'm going to Evolve. And then I'm just going to Sycamore. And we'll definitely get what we need here. Okay, I will attach an energy here. We have a Lysander for next turn. And I'm just going to go for the Deranged Dance. Doing 400 damage to that poor little Clauncher. And we do get a Bridget. So we're going to probably see the Aggron with the DCE come up. Or maybe not. Not sure, actually. If they don't bring it up, then that's bad for them because we'll just take a knockout on it. See a teammates though, so they could grab like a Mega and a Mega Turbo if they play Mega Turbo. Not sure what they're playing. They do put down the Clauncher. We do see the Mega come down. Do they have a way to attack this turn? And would they if they could? Doing 240 is going to be a little tougher, but it's definitely possible. Let's see, right now we're doing... He's got this, so we're going to put down our stadium. And let's see, if we put down Miltank, now we're doing 220. Can we do 240? It all comes down to if we have a Pokemon in deck, which I'm not actually I'm not sure if we do. Oh, we could. I think we might have our last Miltank. I'm not really sure, honestly. But we will discard Sycamore. Oh, we got a Shaman. Okay, so not really the ideal Pokemon, but if we can get a knockout here, I don't really care. We're going to go. We won't be using setup, I don't think, because I don't really want to deck out. And we'll attach to this Shiftry, and we will Lysander up that Mega Aggron. We're going to do 240 damage, taking a knockout on Mega Aggron. Wow, that is something. And we do get the egg and grass energy, so we pretty much have this game wrapped up. We only have to take one more prize, and we just see our opponent concede the game. Yeah, I know that was a pretty unconventional deck we were playing against, but just so you can just see the power of the deck there, being able to do so much damage, and even taking a knockout on Mega Aggron. So we're going to go into one more game here, I think. Maybe a couple. We'll see if they go that quickly. All right, we're going to head into another game here, going up against Trow and Ja. And see what they've got in store for us. Waiting for our opponent to load the game. This little GX thing. Yeah. Could be a fire deck, which we don't really like to see. We did lose the coin flip, unfortunately. But maybe they'll let us go first. That'd be great. Nope, they don't. So we'll see what we draw into. We do start Miltank, and we get a C-Dot for the bench, which is fantastic. Rest of our hand looks alright as well. Muscle Band, Grass Energy. It looks like this could be Night March, which can be kind of a tough matchup, but it's not too bad necessarily. We could take a knockout turn one with Miltank if we can get our Shiftry set up. And because of the Muscle Band, even if they have a Fury Belt on a Pumpkaboo, we can still take a knockout. So that's nice. But let's just see what they have for us. Playing a little, just starting out a little slow. Not sure what kind of decision they've got to make. Maybe they are starting Shaman and they don't want to put it down. That'd be great. But yeah, not sure. Not sure. But yeah, I mean, so we're going to attach Muscle Band and probably just N after that. Depending on our top deck, we might go for a Shaman if we really, really want to, but prize trade's pretty big here. Okay, so actually, depending on what we top deck, we might just go straight for the Shiftry. I don't know. We'll see. We will see. We do see a Ultra Ball, so I did start Shaman, which is great. And it looks like it is going to be Night March. I did discard the Escape Rope, interestingly enough. Not sure if I would have done that. I think the Escape Rope would have been pretty helpful. Bringing up our C-Dot, getting their Shaman out of the active. They did have a Float Stone, but I don't know. But we see another setup, or we see a setup from them, a second Shaman, which we love to see. Multiple Shamans going down. And we can't quite take a knockout on a Shaman, though. Turn one. So that's a little awkward. Unless we get Giovanni. It'll be a lot that we'd have to get, but it's possible, I suppose. It is possible. We do see a couple Lampents and a Sycamore going in, so it's probably going to be a secret for Sycamore. We see a Fury Belt come down. And maybe just a retreat into this other Shaman, which would be interesting. See a Via Seeker for the Sycamore, and what will they discard? A Megaphone and a Lysander. Glad to see that Megaphone going away. We see a Pumpkaboo. If we could Lysander the Pumpkaboo, that would be good as well. But even putting damage on a Shaman can be nice. See a Hex Maniac. Can't play it though, which is good. And what else? Hopefully they put down like a Dimension Valley. That'd be great. But I'm not sure. We just see a pass. Okay. We got a VS Seeker top deck. So we're probably going to end. We'll attach energy. Attach. I don't know if Muscle Band's helpful, but we'll attach Muscle Band. We'll put down the Forest. We could Ultra Ball for a... Could Ultra Ball for a Shaman. Then I have to get rid of the Energy Retrieval, which I really don't want to. Or a VS Seeker. So we'll just end. And let's see. We do get a Shiftry and a Revitalizer Bridget. Okay. Question is, do we go for a Shaman? Or, I think we have to just... I think I actually want to go for a Shaman. We can discard Bridget and Skyfield. We have only 2 Nuzleaf in deck though. And we'll bench the Miltank. We'll bench the Shaman. We want to get something else here too. Okay, great. We got a Nuzleaf. We got a Shiftry. We got another C-Dot. If other Shaman was in the deck, I'd probably go for it, but we at least have the Shiftry for in case we draw into a Grass Energy. We will Powerful Friends. Doing 100. Just shy of the knockout. But not bad. I mean, that means later we could hit it with a Powerful Friends for 10 for a knockout. We could Sky Return it for a knockout. A lot of options. That we do see our Stadium get bumped by Dimension Valley, which is fine. We have another Stadium in hand, and we don't really need Dimension Valley as much now. But if need be, if they had Lysander, Shiftry, we could just Force Giant Plants, Revitalizer, and get everything back. So that would be cool. See Acrobike. Discarding a Battle Compressor. And we see Ultra Ball. Perhaps grabbing another Shaman. Discarding an N though. Kind of interesting. Intriguing. Do you see them go for a Shaman? Question is, do they have the double colorless energy? Not yet. That's good. And we see a setup. Fighting Fairy Belt onto Pumpkaboo. Another Pumpkaboo. Professor Sycamore. So they're probably going to be able to get the energy here. But they have had to go through a lot of resources. And they've had to put down a lot of Shamans. Which we like to see that. Unfortunately, a lot of things are going to come down to a top deck here. But we have several good top decks. We also have some bad top decks. The fact that one of our Shamans prized is definitely not good. That's definitely not good. But we shall see what happens. Did they not get the energy? That'd be amazing. Kind of curious. If they just have to Sky Return, that'd be really, really good. Buy us another turn. Perhaps they're just slow playing us. Yeah, it looks like they're actually gonna have to Sky Return for 40, which then what do they send up? I mean, either they send up the Shaman, which is obviously not good for them, or they send up something that's going to get knocked out. They send up the Shaman, okay. And we top deck a VS Seeker, which can get us an N. Now, obviously, we know they have a bad hand, but we need to get set up more than anything else. Bridget doesn't really do it for us. We need more energy, so we are going to go for the N. And let's see what we can get off this N. Okay, so we got another Shiftry. Got energy. I'm going to... I'm going to leaf draw. See what we draw. Okay, we got EXP share and a Nuzleaf. Cool. So we'll get another Shiftry set up. We will put down an EXP share on one of the Shiftry. What else do I want to do? If I had escape rope right now, that'd be great. I don't think I'll computer search yet. We'll just put down a DCE and Powerful Friends for 100. So now we have 2 Shaman on the board that are both in bad situation. And that's good. And they can take a knockout this turn, but then I think it's been slow enough that we're going to be able to retaliate with knockouts every turn. And eventually, wow, okay, we just see a pack. We see them scoop. Night March there, falling apart, and Shiftry is too powerful. So I guess we'll go into one more game. That one wasn't too interesting, but able to keep up with Night March, so that's great. Okay, so we'll head into one last game here. Up against Charmander EX2. We see Watercolorless. Looks like it's going to be Greninja. And this is definitely an interesting matchup. We do have type advantage, but of course our attacks take a little bit of time to power up on the Shiftry. So it'd be interesting to see. We actually wouldn't mind starting... well, I mean, either way works, right? Because we can take a knockout on a Froakie or on... Because we can take knockout on a Froakie or a Frogadier with the Miltank. But in this particular situation, I think I'm actually going to start C-Dot, and then I'm just going to try and get knockouts with the Shiftry, especially considering that we have the whole line in our hand right now. We do see a mulligan, which is great. We're going to draw more cards. That's what we want to do. We don't have energy yet, and we also don't have a forest. Okay. So we see another mulligan. If we can get a forest this turn, that would be absolutely fantastic. Put us way, way ahead in this game. And we'll see what they're starting. Are they playing Talonflame? Don't know yet. But we're going to draw both mulligan cards. Get another C-Dot. I'll put it down. It doesn't really hurt to put it down. We draw Miltank, so that's not exactly what we wanted. I'm going to drop the Miltank. And I'm going to Giovanni Scheme just for 1. Alright, so we get a Shaman. I'm actually going to wait to play the Shaman. Well, I do want the energy attachment. I want to dig for the energy attachment, but next turn we might potentially get to draw extra cards. But I'll just play the Shaman now. See what we can draw. So we do get a grass energy. So I'm going to put down the grass, and I'm going to pass. And if they bubble, that's totally fine. It's totally fine with us if they bubble. We do see an N, though, and that's okay as well. We didn't have exactly what we needed. We were probably going to have to discard the Shiftry. So this works out well as well. And now we do have a forest. We can Ultra Ball for a Nuzleaf, and then we can hopefully find a Shiftry as well. So we just see a Dive Ball for Froakie, so they aren't going to just be lone Froakie. But they didn't have a Wally or anything like that. So we just see the Bubble Flip. They do get heads. Doesn't matter, though, because we're going to evolve out of it. And we top deck a VS Seeker, which isn't particularly good, but it's okay, I suppose. We're going to grab the Nuzleaf. We'll put down Nuzleaf. We actually could get a knockout with Cut as well, so a DCE even. Just a DCE would be fine. We do have to discard Revitalizer. Don't think it's going to be as important. We get a DCE, though, and a Shiftry, so we are in business. And this is going to be really, really good. Do I want to put down the Floatstone yet? I think I'll wait, hold off, and we will just go for the Deranged Dance. Doing 240 for a knockout on this Froakie. And we'll see what our opponent does here. If they have the Frog, and they do get it back because of the Splash Energy. So they'll put the Froakie back down. Do they have a Frogadier? Looks like they're going to be able to get a Frogadier. But we're going to be able to take knockouts very fast and efficiently. And I think that's probably going to be enough. Now, Hex Maniac would be helpful, but we'll see if we can just get ahead of them on prizes and pull away with a win that way. We got to try and get out as many Shiftry as we can. And so we're going to top deck a Shaman. So I'll put an energy on a C dot. We'll put a Float Stone down. I think I'll put it on Miltank. Could put Skyfield, but that wouldn't make much sense. And we don't really need any of these supporters. We are going to get rid of another VS Seeker this way, but I'm okay with that to thin our deck out. We got a EXP share. I'm not going to put it down yet. Well, I can put it down, I suppose. We'll put it down on this C dot here. We will Professor's Letter, and because I do want to Leaf Draw this turn and hopefully get ourselves... we did already discard the energy retrieval, but I do want to get myself a Nuzleaf, another Shiftry if at all possible. Okay, so we get an Ultra Ball. We also get a Nuzleaf. So I'm going to put down Nuzleaf, Shiftry, and I'm actually going to Ultra... Well, I don't know if it's worth Ultra Balling. I think we could Ultra Ball, get rid of the C dot, because we probably don't need that many. So I'll just get rid of C dot, Bridget, grab another Nuzleaf. We have the last Shiftry in deck as well, which is great. We don't have to Revitalizer for it. And this also helps us so we don't get Giant Water Shurikened. And we're just going to Deranged Dance for the knockout. Now, they could Shadow Stitching, but we don't really care about ability. I mean, abilities aren't integral to the strategy of this deck. And I think we might be able to just steamroll them. They are going to bring up the Froakie and hope for probably a Bubble Flip here to buy them some time. And we don't have a way out of it. So it would indeed buy them some time. They actually are playing one of the XY Greninja, interestingly enough. And we'll see, are they going for the bubble or are they going to go for another Frogadier? It looks like they are going to go for the bubble, and they get Tails. And that is pretty important. I think that may be able to seal the victory for us. Not for sure, though, but I'll put down DCE, and I don't really have reason to play anything else, so I'm just going to go for the Deranged Dance knockout. And doing 280. This is very one-sided if we get set up like this. And that is obviously what's happening here. We're going to see a Greninja come up. But what can they really do? I mean, if they play... I mean, they can take a knockout in one turn, right? With a Break and a Moonlight Slash taking the energy back. Or using Water Shuriken as well. Now, where will the Water Shuriken go? It's actually going to go on the active. I'm not sure how helpful that is for them. They have to do 110 here, which is not possible just with the Greninja. So I'm not sure if that was the best play by them. Perhaps they're going to go for a Shadow Stitching. They're actually going for the Moonlight Slash. Yeah, they do take the energy back. Now, but we do survive the turn, and I think that's all that really matters. We will attach a Grass to the Nuzleaf. We'll put down a... there's no reason not to put down the EXP share. And we could Lysander, but the active Greninja is doing much more to us. And I think I'm just going to hold this hand totally fine with what we have going here. We'll Deranged Dance. Again, we're going to be doing a way overkill, 240. And I think we're going to take down honestly, one of the better decks in Expanded and Standard. It's actually better in Expanded because there's tool removal and such. Now, they are going to be able to get the knockout on the active Shiftry. And we don't get to use the EXP share, I don't believe, because it was an ability. So what do we want to bring up here? We're just going to bring up the Miltank with a Float Stone. Now, if they do discard the Float Stone, we might have to DCE to retreat. But this way, if they attack with a Mist Slash, we're not getting damaged on our attacker. And that's the main thing. And we do just see a concession. Our opponent seeing Shiftry is just too strong. And the turn 2 Shiftry knockout was enough to put on enough pressure that even this fantastic comeback deck of Greninja just wasn't able to do it. And see, we did 1,080 damage, and that was only taking 4 prizes. So we had potential to do at least 1,500 damage. And you never know. I mean, we could have. I mean, if they had benched more, would have been way more. See our opponent's deck. They're just playing one of the Water Shuriken Greninja. But yeah, hope you enjoyed this deck. I know it's not the most competitive deck, but it's definitely an interesting one, and I'm pretty excited. We've got a couple league cups coming up locally, and so maybe I will do some sort of recap on that, depending on how, if I'm able to attend both events and how things go. But hopefully I'll do a recap on that. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.